Hey book besties, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited to be sharing my April TBR with you. I love making these videos because it gets me so excited for the next month's reading. So yeah, let's talk about what books I'm reading this month. So for my April TBR, I decided to let my friends and family pick my TBR, which was so fun. It was interesting seeing what they picked for me. I gave them like my long TBR and then they picked from that. Also, I couldn't give them free reign completely. I had like 5 choices from them. And then I had to pick some myself because if you have seen my series currently reading video, you'll know I had 93 books to read, which is wild. Like, I can't believe I've got that many books that I need to finish in order to be able to take my series. That number scared me a little bit. So I'm now going to make sure 50% of my TBR is books from that list. Okay, so book number 1 was chosen by my mum and it is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This is my only R.F. Kuang book I haven't read and I am excited for it. It's different from her other books though because it's not a fantasy. I think the premise of this book is basically you've got 2 author friends and one is really successful and the other is not. The really successful one dies, unfortunately, and her friend basically steals her manuscript and publishes her own writing. That's all I really know, but I've just had so many good things. My cousins recommended it to me as well. My best friends have read it. Like, it's meant to be a really good book and I've seen people rave about it. And I love R.F. Kuang's writing. Like, she is just a gift, like, with how she writes. I am excited just for that. Like, the premise of her book doesn't matter. I will just read it, like, whatever it is, because her writing's so nice. So yeah, excited for that one and intrigued about that storyline. The next book I'm reading is from a series I'm currently reading, which is the Twisted series. Very popular on BookTok, so you might have seen it. It's the 3rd book in the series, Twisted Hate. I enjoyed the first 2 in the series, but I didn't love them. I felt they were a bit overhyped. The 2nd was definitely better than the 1st, so I'm hoping the 3rd is even better and I enjoy that even more. This book has a really fiery and determined female main character, and our love interest is like quite strong and ambitious. It's also enemies to lovers, which is like my favourite romance trope. So I'm feeling good about this one. I'm hoping I enjoy it. It'll be good to get one of those series books ticked off. Just drinking some of my oatside coffee. This is like my little obsession since like being in Asia. It's like a little carton of iced coffee. I just can't stop drinking them. Anyway, back to books. Okay, so my 3rd book on my TBR is The Traitor Queen, which was chosen by my dad. He's not read this book or doesn't really know anything about it. I think he just picked quite spontaneously. This is the 2nd book in the Bridge Kingdom series, and I'm currently reading the 1st one now because it was on my March TBR. It's quite good that he picked this one because it means I can just continue quite quickly with the series. I think I'd have picked it myself anyway, so I'm feeling grateful that he did. I'm enjoying the 1st book. I don't know anything about the 2nd book because obviously that might spoil the 1st one, which I'm currently reading. But at the moment, we've got this main character, no spoilers, don't worry, and she has been risen in this kingdom and basically has an arranged marriage with this other kingdom who's like their enemy, and her dad basically wants her to infiltrate as a spy, and she's basically questioning like, is it my kingdom that's bad, is it this kingdom that's bad, like, and she's just like falling for this guy, but then she's like, he's the enemy, and there's a lot going on. It's quite like, I thought it would be less political than it is, so I'm really enjoying it. It's like a proper political romancy. Yeah, really good so far, so I'm looking forward to reading the 2nd one. Can you see I've just got one hair that won't go down no matter what I do? That looks so bizarre. Oh well, we're gonna have to embrace it. We haven't got a choice. So book 5. Book 5 is a book picked by my boyfriend, Abroad in Japan by Chris Broad. He is a YouTuber who has been living in Japan for 10 years and this is his memoir about living there. I really want to visit Japan, so I'm really excited to like read more about it. And also I feel like this is the right time to read about moving abroad since I am moving abroad. So good pick, Josh. He literally bangs on about this book so much, so I'm gonna be disappointed if it doesn't live up to the high expectations he has given me. Okay, so my next book on my TBR is The Right Move, which is the 2nd book in the Windy City series. Can you tell I've started so many series and just left it that the 2nd book needs to be read? This is my problem. Why have I done this? Anyway, I'm now changing that and I'm getting through all my series. I'm looking forward to this one. It is a sports romance. It's forced proximity. It's best friend's brother. There's some really fun tropes there. And we did get to meet our 2 main characters in the 1st book. And they're both very interesting and you could like get little bits of tension. Like when I was reading the 1st book, I was like, they're gonna have like their own story and I'm excited to read it. Which is kind of weird because I'm not gonna say why, I still don't give spoilers. Yeah. Very excited about this one, and I don't know why I haven't read it sooner, because I think it's because I've just like known it's there on my Kindle waiting to be read. I'm like, yeah, I'll get to that at some point. It's now been like 4 months and I've still not read it, so yeah. I'm looking forward to actually getting to this one. Book 7 on my TBR this month is Us Against You by Fredrik Backman. This was picked by Nicola, my boyfriend's mum, and I'm not surprised because she is a big Fredrik Backman fan. I know she really likes like all of his books, so when this was on the list I thought she might pick this one. This book is the second book in the Beartown series. I really enjoyed Beartown. It was beautiful writing, but it is also like a really emotional and uncomfortable read, and like the writing's very clever in how it makes you feel uncomfortable. It's basically about this really remote small hockey town and this one big event that sort of shapes this town. I'm not going to go into what the event was or the implications of that because I do feel like that's a huge spoiler. But if you like an uncomfortable read, do check trigger warnings if there is anything that bothers you, because this definitely is worth checking that for, because there are some really difficult topics in this book. But yeah, it made me feel very, very uncomfortable, and I think for that reason I have put off reading the second one. I am quite nervous to read it, but equally I do really want to read it. And like Fredrik Backman, because his writing is so popular and so good, he's one of my authors I want to read more of in 2025. So yay for this one being on my TBR. And although I can't say I'm excited, I genuinely am more nervous than excited to read this book, but I'm glad I'm reading it. I'm glad it's my TBR this month. Book 8 is my choice from a series I'm currently reading, and it is Order of the Phoenix, the 5th book in the Harry Potter series. It's a reread for me, and I'm basically, if you've seen my other videos, you will know that I'm rereading Harry Potter and then we're like watching the films like in order, which is so fun. This book is also basically another pick of my boyfriend's because he is nagging at me. He's like, I want to watch the 5th Harry Potter film. Like, can you hurry up and read it, please? So this had to be on my TBR this month. It was non-negotiable. Such a comfort read as well. Like, I always say reading Harry Potter is like a hug, which is bizarre because it's obviously quite an intense book when you get like this far in the series. But it just feels so like home comforting. I think even more so because it's like set in England and London, so when I'm far away from England and London, it just, yeah, I love Harry Potter. I'm here for it. Book 9 is In Memoriam, and this was picked by my best friend Georgia at Georgia Recommends on Instagram. She is like someone who loves a book that rips your heart out, stamps on it, puts it back in again, then rips it out again. Like, she doesn't just want to like be a little bit upset, she wants to be like soul destroyed. And she said that's why she picked this book for me. So I was like, oh, great. Can't wait to cry loads this month. Another challenging read. Good fun. But I also do love a book that makes you cry, so not complaining too much. This book is set against the backdrop of 1914 England, so it's in World War I, and you've got these two boys who are good friends and they're at school together and they secretly love each other, but the other person doesn't know that like they like each other. And then one is from like a German family background and he sort of feels he has to sign up for the war and is like pushed to by his parents, so he signs up to be a soldier, and then because this other guy loves him, he's like, I'm gonna sign up too. So they basically end up going together, and this is the story about like a forbidden romance that happens between them whilst they're at war and whilst they're being soldiers. Hearing that is the plot line, and then hearing this book makes you cry a lot, has me so nervous. Like, I'm not ready to read this book. But also, I've seen so many people like say this is like their favourite book. I think this was this Waterstone's Book of the Year 2023? I think it might have been. It might have been like debut novel of the year 2023. It definitely won an award at Waterstones. So anyway, I'm excited to read this book. Last book on my TBR, book 10, is a bit of a bonus book because it's a new release. Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. I'm so excited. I'm praying I can find a physical copy because I have yet to find a physical copy of Sunrise on the Reaping, and I don't want to pay £9 for it on my Kindle because I know I'm going to buy a physical copy either way. So let's hope I can find a copy here in Thailand or Vietnam, and of both Sunrise on the Reaping and Great Big Beautiful Life. I know nothing about Great Big Beautiful Life other than that it is written by Emily Henry. I don't need to know more than that. I love going into an like author's book that you just like anyway blind, and I'm seeing people getting their ARC copies of Great Big Beautiful Life and I'm so happy. It's making me so excited. Also, like, they look so pretty, and I'm like literally starting to save people's reviews, and I'm like, I'm going to come back and I'm going to read this, but not yet. I'm not reading any reviews on it until I've read it myself. I'm so excited for new Emily Henry. I literally can't wait. What a reading month we have ahead. 10 books that I really, really want to read. Like, I feel like I've got such a good, diverse range of books on my TBR this month. Yeah, I can't wait to get stuck in. So that is my April TBR this month. If you want to see my thoughts on these books, don't forget to subscribe. Happy reading, everybody.